Oh, there we go. We are live now, and I am just saying hello. Happy fall. Definitely fall is upon us in Edmonton, and it is September 17th already, which is kind of crazy. So let's take a look at our market stats. And today, if you are curious what I'm going to talk about today, I usually go in and show you what is happening specifically in neighborhoods. So I am going to focus on some new build areas. I've had some requests and some questions about new build areas. And so now keep in mind, new build areas aren't completely accurate on our system because we only record what is um, sold on MLS. Just need to, we are what a great start to this morning. um so we are going to take a look at the stats first in Edmonton and area, and then I'm going to dive into the areas. If you are watching live and you have questions on the new build areas, please comment and then I will talk about them. I'm going to show you the location of them. I'm going to show you the average price. I'm going to show you the solds that we do have recorded on the system, and then I'll just give you some of my antidote, as or antidote antidote. I don't even know what I'm saying today. So let's dive into the current listings we have right now. So currently there are just very similar week to week in the last couple, like last month, we've seen our listings stay pretty steady. It's really low. I don't know if you've noticed, but 2,300 listings is extremely low. So even though it's climbing up slowly, it is low. I think we hit as low as just under 2,000, which is insane. So if you are a buyer looking for a home, you're probably feeling how low the inventory is and then how quickly things are still moving even in September. And that's not because of the weather, it's because there's nothing for sale. And there are people that want to buy a house. The rate was announced 2 weeks ago that the variable rate was going down a little bit, but the fixed rate's still very similar. It has gone down in the last few months. So it is, and people are wanting to move before the dreaded snowfall, which is probably going to come in the next month and a half. I hate to be bearer of bad news, but I'm just being realistic. So if you're looking to move before the snowfalls, you need to be looking like right now. Um, so in order for you guys to get in and moved in, you need to be hunting now, putting an offer in the next week or two, and then you have the chance to get in before that time. Now, if you are looking in the surrounding areas like St. Albert, Sherwood Park, Spruce Grove, you'll see their numbers are almost identical from last week in terms of the number of active listings. And there are sales, so it's not like it just sat stagnant for the last week. Let's take a look at the pending sales. If you take a look at the pending sales in Edmonton last week for single family homes, this is all single family homes. We had a little bit more sales this last week than the week before. St. Albert, pretty similar. Sherwood Park, a little bit less. And Spruce Grove, a tad bit more in terms of deals coming into contract. So we would have had listings come on the market and go pending. We also would have had not that many listings come on, and also the ones sitting there also went pending, which means pending means an offer was written and accepted by the seller and the buyer. Sold means that the properties have been removed conditions or unconditional offer. And that number in Edmonton, very similar. In St. Albert, we saw a little bit less. Sherwood Park, a little bit higher, and Spruce Grove higher. So you'll see that that number next week probably be the same, similar, because if you looked at the pending deals, they were a bit higher and they match kind of what's been going on here. So if we take a look at the single family home market, it's still very, very strong. If you are looking to find an affordable home, that is going to be, you know, it's definitely a challenge, but you can still get one. You just got to know what you're wanting. Make sure you're working with a professional who knows what they're doing and who's like in it. If you take a look at last year compared to this year, we did this when we first started because I was like, hey, look, this is what the normal market is, and here's what our crazy market is. Now, obviously, we've adjusted in the last, I'd say, year and a half to somewhat of a normal market. That being said, it's not really normal with the inventory being so low. Edmonton, typically in the pre-pandemic years, we were sitting very conservative. I'd say 3,500 to 4,000 listings was a normal, balanced market. Uh, you can see you're like Melody. 4,000 is normal for buyer's market? Yeah, that's why we're in a seller's market right now, in general speaking, because we are sitting at less than half of all that. And again, keep in mind, this is single family homes, right? And if you watch my market stats video that's coming out this Friday, you'll see me talk about everything in Edmonton and area, because that's a month scope is very different than a week scope. But the week scope is really interesting to keep up with, because it gives us the insight to seeing what the market is doing. And sometimes market stats look a certain way and you don't know what that means. Like, what does that mean? Oh, it went up from last week or down from last week. More sales, less sales, that kind of thing. So take a look at this year versus last year. We had way less sales this year than we did last year. And then, hold on, let me just double check my solds. So sold in the last 7 days, 198. And then compared to last year, Edmonton, 198 this year versus 252 last year. So way more sales last year. And don't forget that interest rates were higher last year. St. Albert, we had more sales this year than last. Sherwood Park, more this year than last. Again, very similar. Spruce Grove, higher. Now, Spruce Grove, we kind of talked about in one of our episodes before. We're seeing a lot more sales in Spruce Grove. And why is that? I think it's become a lot more, it's just more of a desired location because it's become so much more affordable than everything in Edmonton and surrounding areas. And so Spruce Grove has seen more and more sales. And it's also been really hard to find property. Even like resale is really hard to find. Lots of new properties being built over there, because the new areas, there are some right at the end, right when you get from Edmonton to Spruce, and then all the way on the other side as well too. So I wanted to dive into the new built areas, and I see you want to look at River's Edge. So let's dive in. I'm going to show people what the map looks like first, so we have some context of what we're looking at. So thank you for watching, Shanika, because we are going to talk about the River's Edge here. So let me just dive into here. All right, so this is our wonderful city of Edmonton, which, by the way, in like the next week or two is going to be glorious in the River Valley, because those red and yellow leaves are going to be blossoming. And we were just out there for a walk the other day, and it's still green, but things will change, and they change quickly. They don't last on the trees long, because then it just goes away. But the weather has been beautiful. Okay, so in Edmonton, all the new build areas, what I talk about, they're always around the 216. So that's our Anthony Henday. Now, what does that mean? Why is there no new build here? Well, there is, but those are called infill properties. And we're not talking about infills today. If there's some demand that people want to talk about that, we can chat about it one day. But the affordability of infills is not as good as the new builds here. So if you're looking year to year. Just a quick lesson in case you haven't tuned into my channel before. Central Edmonton is like the older part. So we're looking at 100 years, and then it spans outwards. So it gets newer as we move outwards. So this is 100 years. Then it goes newer. Then it goes newer. Then it goes newer. I'd say by 216, you're looking at the 90s, early 2000s. And then anything outside of the Henday in general is less than 20 years old. Now, we're 2024, so we're almost at 24 to 30 years, which is insane. I just makes anyone feel old when you hear that 2024 is 24 is your house. If you bought it and it was a new build in 2000, it's 24 years old. That's crazy. Anyways, side note. So these are the new build areas, and Shanika's asking about River's Edge. So River's Edge is in this southwest quadrant. Now, when you look at the river valley here, the river that runs through our city, typically people in general call anything on this side south, this side west. Now, it's a bit of a stretch because this is really far southwest, in my opinion, but it is become quote unquote what the builders call West Edmonton, because West Edmonton doesn't have a whole lot of new areas. So West Edmonton is technically here, right from here down. And Secord is almost done, believe it or not. That has been a big undertaking, and it's a lot larger of an area then Rosenthal. And Rosenthal is almost done. This road over here is actually opened up and connects over to this road, which I call the death highway. It scares the living lights out of me when I'm driving down here, and I don't want to go here in the winter. It's a single lane technically highway. It's the white mud, but then it becomes this township road. And why would you go down here? Well, maybe you're going to um, this direction. You're going to the corn maze, or you're going to Devon. That's typically why you take this road. The Costco is just right here. And so, anyways, that's a side note. So Secord and Rosenthal are considered west for sure. There's another area in between where the um, rec center is being built, and right around there, they're calling it Rosemont. Now, I believe I don't know what MLS is calling it, because if you are aware, when you look at new builds, they always talk about Secord Heights. What else the other ones? Henley Heights. They're all in Secord. So on MLS, we just call everything Secord. But for marketing purposes, the builders, developers always brand these little subsections of the area. So just make sure. I think Rosemont is actually considered Secord, not Rosenthal. But I have to double check that, because nothing's been listed over in that area, so it's interesting. There's different names, like Yager Ridge is not called Yager Ridge on MLS. It's called, oh my gosh, it's slipping my mind right now. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's weird. There's just different names for things. So let's go back. So Grange and Hamptons, yes, they're on this side, but they are considered older. They've definitely been here for more than 20 to 30 years. Edgemont is more of a newer area. It's still being developed, but it's almost done, honestly. Edgemont is quite it sprawls everywhere. So it's kind of like you got Edgemont here, and nothing is straight and accessible. Lots of new builds there. And then when you continue to go south, I just go here, you are going to hit into the Uplands area and River's Edge. Now, River's Edge is one of the newer areas. Uplands was the first area in this space. Where is Uplands? So this Uplands, they have now. I can see that they're trying to call it all this. Google Maps and Realtor like .ca/MLS, they label things differently. So I believe this might all become Uplands, but we'll see. I'll take a look and show you guys the stats here. So Edgemont down into Uplands. Now, if you don't like, what do you call it? Power lines, this might not be the area for you, because there's a lot of power lines. And these areas, this road has now opened too. So there's this is I don't want to butcher the name, but this is the name of the trail, and you can come off of the Henday here, and it also goes to Cameron Heights on the other side. You can also go down Winterburn Road. So there is 1 exit, 2 exit, and now 3 into this area, whereas before it was not this accessible. Now, River's Edge and Stillwater. So Stillwater, I know some people have asked me about as well. And I don't cover it because I don't like to slam things on live YouTube. So if that can give you enough. If you have a realtor that works with you, you can actually ask them. Like, I will tell my clients what makes sense for their family, and the good and the bad. On YouTube, it's just information, because I don't know what your situation is, right? Now, the Uplands and Stillwater came around the same time. River's Edge is a newer area. River's Edge has a lot of new builds in here, and you can see on Google Maps, there's not a whole lot here. This is literally River's Edge. Now, if I am to show you what is selling, let's just see if River's Edge will show up as a community. River's Edge. No, that is not. I'm pretty sure this is not. No. Uplands. So let's see if they have River's Edge classified in the Uplands. So you can see here, the low is 369 to 785 is the high that's been selling in Uplands the last 30 days. There's plenty of $1 million homes in the Uplands, but you typically are seeing them being bought new. Resale isn't there as much. So let's just take a look at these addresses. All look like the Uplands. I'm trying to see if River's Edge is being classified in here. Nope, that's Uplands. these are the sold ones. Let's just show you guys this one here, 554. New build, yes. Brand new build. This looks like a laned house. Oh, it's a duplex. So sharing a wall for 554. That is how high our prices have gone in the last 2 years, because 554 used to get you a front attached double garage home, 0 lot line granted, but not attached. And now a few years later, you're getting a duplex for that same price. So if you got in a few years ago, you've got some good equity being gained. It doesn't mean you need to cash out on it. It means that you've got good equity so that if you need to move eventually, you'll be able to make that move a lot easier, because, yeah, that's interesting. So that's the duplex at 554. Now this one is a house, 495. Now these 0 lot lines, you want to make sure that you're looking at these garages. So they look like double car garages, but because of how narrow things are, they're not going to be as large. And that's something that a lot of my clients ask specifically for, to make sure it's not like that. Let me just see if I can get the address of here. 184th Street and 17th Ave. Let me see if I can find anything. I do not see anything in the upland. So I don't know if MLS has not put that in yet, because let's see if Stillwater's in here. Well, Stillwater's in here. Rivers. Well, maybe we have to do an apostrophe. Oh, here we go. River's Edge. Ta-da. Okay, yes, this is it. So Stillwater, Upland, and River's Edge are actually their own thing. Edgemont is all Edgemont. So if you got those little things, then it's Edgemont. See, we just learned something today. All right. So they've only had one sale in the last 30 days, which is 575. There's a lot of new builds here. So a lot of these listings are likely actually new build. Let's see the year built. Yeah, 2024. Interesting. This is 2005. Oh, because it's land and it's $1.998 million. So that's an acreage. That is not a typical River's Edge property. 575. You can see a lot of the houses are in the market for quite some time. This looks like, is this a Sterling house? Oh, it's a new build. Front office. The open to above. The ever popular open to above. There's no fireplace here. Now you can just go to Home Depot and buy one. Let's see, that one sold for 575. So in the uplands, you got a duplex for 554, and you can buy this for 575. Now, careful what you buy in here as well, because some of these are going to back onto roads. They're not all developed areas right now. So what it looks like it's okay, you need to make sure that's not backing a road eventually. Or what is it backing? When you're buying in brand new areas, you have to really research the lot and the future lot. Sometimes the sales reps aren't completely honest, and sometimes it's not because they're trying to be dishonest. They don't know. I always dig in, and I dig in quite far, just to make sure that you don't have this like apartment coming up behind you by accident a year or two later, because that's not great. So that's River's Edge, and you can see that prices for sale right now on average $753 in that area, but yet the only sold was $575. Let's go back 60 days and let's just look at the solds. Oh, only 290. Okay, there's 6. So anywhere from 349 to 638. These are those. These are this street side townhouses that someone said it's so small you can't even fart in it. Thanks for that comment, whoever you are. I don't know if you've looked at the Toronto market, but you know that they're even smaller there. I don't know. Also, I'm just going to rant on here. Sometimes people who are keyboard warriors just need to learn to not express themselves on text. Just like in real life, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all, or go say it somewhere else. I just think that we need to be the change and not be careful with your words. Are they going to help or harm? That's all I have to say. All right. So now back to this. So you've got this one, 552, it's a 0 lot line from Sterling, and 575. Let's take a look at this one. This was only on the market for 5 days at that price. It likely was listed before and then they just changed the price. So this is the Apex model, and it's not an open to above. Now, the good thing about not open to above is you can fit more rooms upstairs, right? There's more space. So you got the bonus room, the 3 bedrooms, the upstairs laundry, basement's undeveloped, and then look at the garage. See, 19 by 22. That's the average size, honestly, of these um, zeros. And then you can see here, see how there's a road here and a road here. All these homes are backing on this road, right? That's all these homes. This house was located here, and you can see this space. And these, when you see these ones, these are the houses with the garages in the back. So important to know when you're looking at River's Edge. Oopsies. Let me just take a look at, anyone else have any comments of things that they want to look at? I seem to not be able to move my mouse to the next comment. So this is great. Thank you. You're welcome, Shanika. I hope that you are working with somebody to help you find a place in River's Edge. It's important to like understand what's going on there. If you're looking for schools, I don't know I doubt the school buses are going out there right now because it's too far. For a long time, they didn't have any buses in the uplands, and that might have changed by now because there's definitely more people in the uplands. And yeah, so let's take a look at another area. I'm going to just pop up another area. So we're in here. River's Edge, Uplands, Edgemont. Let's take a look at Edgemont. It's a bit quote unquote older, even though it's not that old. So if we take a look at Edgemont, Edmonton, and we're looking at the sales last 60. Oh, see, it's a lot more active and a lot more property selling because there's also resale, not just new build in there. So I want to show you when you're buying new, you want to see what things are selling for a resale, because believe it or not, though the builder says, hey, this used to cost 50K more to build, or sorry, less to build, and prices are going up. That's true. But when you go to sell it, it's very interesting to see that doesn't translate fully over into the resale world, even if it is still newer. So if you take a look at this, let's just take a look at the year built here. 2020, let's say look 21. 577 for 2,200 square feet. 580, but a brand new 525. Let's see, is the basement finished? Unfinished basement. But the square footage matters too. If you're looking at a home under 2,000 square feet, see, it's only 12 square feet shy of 2,000. You think that's not a big deal? Just get the house that's over 2,000 square feet. It will make a huge difference when you go for resale. Please, I beg of you, do that. If you're not going to buy if you're going to buy this, just get something 1,800 or smaller. To me, it's not worth it. And builders will charge you by square footage, and it will help your resale value. If you think it's too small at 1,800, then just jump to 2,000. Why go at the 1,988 range? That makes it a lot harder to sell. See, 87 days on market. So the average price here is 551 in Edgemont. And that's because you got new and old. And if you're curious, this is a split level. So that's not very common. But that took a long time to sell at 770. Let's see. Oh, this is like a custom home. Oh my gosh, and it's a massive backyard. So these are not very common in new builds anymore, but look at these yards back here. So definitely something that you're not seeing a whole lot of. And then this is a very unique layout because you don't usually see these split levels. You usually are seeing 2 stories. This is a $743,000 house in Edgemont. See how wide this is on the side? So you got a decent size garage, and then they're backing onto a walking path. Yard's not done, so this is brand new. By the way, when you have stub wall, that's what this is called, it saves a lot of money. And you could always change to railing after, but you'd be surprised. Railing costs a lot of money. Just for this tiny little section, it's going to be probably around $5,000, never mind the ones up here. So if you're looking to wait to save money, just put the stub wall in, get the square footage, pay the money for the square footage, don't do down here, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to go back here and check and see if we have any more comments. If we don't, Trumpeter. Trumpeter's north and McGrath. So McGrath is not new build, so I will cover McGrath next week. But if we take a look at Trumpeter, so Trumpeter and River's Edge are very different areas. They both don't have amenities close by. I mean, technically Trumpeter has a little bit. This is the sold in Trumpeter, sold from $257 to $665. This is just land. There's no house on it. And then $665 and $620. Something I've noticed is these properties in Trumpeter seem to take quite a while to sell. That entire area, this is a very popular layout, by the way. Everyone is getting this layout. So we're going way up north here for Trumpeter right here. So it's you'd think Hawkesridge, Trumpeter, Starling would be great areas because it's so close to here, and Kinglet. But you got it, like very few amenities that are out here. And these guys, the sales reps, always say, "Hey, you're so close to St. Albert." Well, that's true, but you can't access the St. Albert schools. So don't be tricked by that, and take a look at what's there. If you like quietness, that's going to be here as well. And that's really important. Now, let me just I'm going to go back to my screen. We've got some other questions here. If you're looking to buy condos or even townhomes to buy or flip, are there any areas to avoid in Edmonton? Well, that's a great question, AR. And if you've watched my videos before, I do not talk about condos because condos in Edmonton in general are definitely not a flip product. They don't even gain equity over time. And so we don't talk about that here. If you have questions specific on a specific condo, I can always connect you with one of our team members to help you with that. Townhomes, if they have condo fees, it's the same idea. But there are some townhomes in Edmonton that don't have condo fees, and those will be in the new build areas. The old townhouses don't have the no condo fees structure. Let's take a look around. Looking at South End like Ellerslie, but open to suggestion. Yeah, so when you talk to your agent, make sure to talk to your agent about what you're looking for, and they can dig and find for you the actual ones that are profitable. But flipping in general in Edmonton, I would never recommend it. I know people still do it, but I don't see the value here. We are not Toronto where the values jump up so high. Now, that being said, this year we've seen like a 7% increase so far from the entire year. We have a couple more months to go. I would say it's probably going to sit around this mark. I don't think it's going to drop a whole lot. 7-8% is what we're going to see compared to last year, which is like normally it's 1 to 3%. And for condos, it's usually negative. We just have had the condos actually sell this year. We're not used to being able to have that. So thanks, C. Smith, for watching me again. So yeah, hopefully this video helped. Next week, we can chat more about properties or inside. I just thought I'd address the new build area because that was something that people always wanted to ask me about. And new builds, by the way, for you guys still watching and listening, did you know you can work with a realtor? And there are different kinds of realtors to help you with new builds. There are realtors who are not as familiar. They haven't done the work. They haven't done a lot of new builds, and it makes a difference. Someone who has worked new builds and has the relationships like myself, that it makes it a lot clearer for you step by step. If you're building, we have tracks and measures and what to expect. And not all agents are the same, right? So keep that in mind and make sure that whoever you're working with, for one, get representation. And two, make sure that the representation has actual experience working in the new build market. It is very different than the resale market. You might not be able to negotiate, and that's one caution. There's not a whole lot of negotiation that is happening in the new build market ever since probably 2.5 years ago. And so you might see some incentives come down the pipe, but that doesn't mean the realtor is going to cost you extra. It's supposed to be included. When they say it costs extra, typically sales reps some of them get penalized. They get paid less when a realtor is involved, but it doesn't impact you. So you just want to keep in mind all those different factors when you're looking at new. And that is all I'm going to say. Okay, have a great day, guys, and we'll talk to you guys next week.